So the Detroit Lions have traded Jeff Okuda, and we all knew this was coming. And in fact, Chris did a video about it, I think yesterday. So like he was cutting edge on this thing, and we saw it coming. We didn't know what it would be for. There were rumors about a third rounder coming back our way. There were also talks about maybe adding a couple late round picks. Turns out we didn't get a couple of late round picks. We didn't get a third rounder. We just got a fifth rounder, which you could consider one late round pick or at least one moderately late round pick. The return wasn't huge, but it's about what you expected. He did not perform like a guy that would do more. I think he had come to an end with his time here in Detroit. And I need to talk about a few things in this video. Number one, let's stop with the excuses. Number two, the return on what we get. Number three, teammate reaction. Number four, we freed even more cap space. What are we doing with all this cap space? We're going to hit each and every one of them. So let's start with let's stop with the excuses. I am so sick of hearing Jeff Okuda got drafted, all right, in 2020 during COVID. Like a lot of people got drafted in 2020, okay, during COVID. Like a lot of people had to deal with that. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, the COVID year and all that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, that's fine. I understand it. On that same team, we had DeAndre Swift, who ended up being just fine. Julian Okwara, injured like crazy. Jonah Jackson's going to be he's a Pro Bowl guard. Logan Stenberg, Quintez Cephas, who's fine. Huntley, Penasini, Cornell. Look, here's the deal. It's not a good draft, but we can't sit here and say there's been nobody that's been drafted in 2020 that's any good. That's just not true. That's about what was par for the course for Bob Quinn. And now he's gone, and we have almost gotten rid of everything that resembles a Bob Quinn on this team. So I'm sick of the excuse of he was drafted in 2020, he got hurt, and I get it. And he's going to go to Atlanta, and he's probably going to perform just fine. He wasn't working out here. It's that simple. We have more talent in now. So let's just enjoy that for a second. Now let's talk about what we're getting back. We're getting back a fifth round pick, to be exact, number 159 from the Falcons. Yeah. And what that means is that we're getting a lot of salary cap in return. So let's talk about that next. He had a cap hit of 10.7 million. We have to eat 5.5 of that because of a signing bonus, which leaves us with 5.2 million in new salary cap space. Okay, that means the Detroit Lions now have an estimated $25.9 million in salary cap for 2023. There is so much salary cap. What are we doing with all this money? Like, what are we going to do with it? And I keep wondering, I keep thinking to myself, is it time? I know we've talked about getting a developmental quarterback. I think it's a good call. Is it time to extend some people? Is it time? I don't know who it could be. Do you extend Jared Goff? Is it even feasible to do that yet? Do you extend Jonah Jackson if you want to keep him around after this year and put a bunch of a salary cap? Like, we need to get money, and I don't know exactly how this works. I usually am a salary cap nerd. All right. But here's my thing. Do we need to rework a couple of contracts to get it back into this year so that we're not having so much dead money next year and just sitting on 26 million this year? Brad Holmes is going to do something with this. Expect news in the next couple weeks on this. Something will change. And if it's not in the next couple weeks, it will be after the draft. And once we really know what our team looks like. Okay. So here's what I want to do. I also want to look at some of the reactions from teammates. I want to see some of the reactions from teammates. Jerry Jacobs, you know what it is with us, brother. Keep striving for greatness. Love you. He said the same thing. Atlanta got a real one. Wishing you nothing but the best. A lot of free hefes going on here, and I think it's interesting. When we talk about this with Okuda. And a lot of free hefes going on here. And it makes me wonder, we talk about fresh start. Are they just trying to encourage Okudah in what's next? Or are they saying maybe he didn't quite have the shot that he should have here? Because I'm not going to buy he didn't have the shot here. But when you keep saying free somebody, that's an interesting one. But here's okay, JMO, I want to love the guy and I'm going to. Okay, I am going to. But he leaves and it's no see you later, anything like that. It's I need that Uno back, please. In other words, he's saying, I need number one. I need that number one jersey. He wants it. He needs it. And then 1 minute later, I'm sorry for everybody who got that jersey, but I need that Uno, man. And he's just very clearly coming out and saying, I want jersey number one. And I'm just like, okay, do what you got to do, man. But this trade kind of sets up a lot of different things. We know Brad Holmes is good with late round picks, so that's kind of nice. He can probably turn a 5th round pick into a better he can probably turn a 5th round pick into a more productive player than Jeff Okudah has been for the last 3 years. But overall, if you're still watching this, I think this is kind of a sad day. I think this is kind of a sad day for the Lions. It's the end of the Quinn official era, which is fine. That's not sad. That's happy. But it's just another high ranked player that was a swing and a miss. And it didn't work out with Okudah. I wish him nothing but the best. I'm glad we didn't trade him in the division, but it is kind of tough to see the number 3 overall pick go for a 5th rounder 3 years later. You really hoped you could at least get like a 3rd rounder or something like that. I mean, there's a chance that you could have let him walk and even gotten a compensatory pick on this. So I'm just I'm struggling with a couple of those things, but I guess it's good to see. It frees up room. He was CB4 or CB5 on the roster right now, behind the 2 new acquisitions, behind Jacobs, for sure, maybe even behind Harris. So I think, and maybe they were wanting him to switch over to safety. Maybe he wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But what I do know is that Jeff Okudah is on his way to Atlanta. On the way back is a 5th round pick and $5 million added to this year's cap. I am very interested to see what we're going to do with that money. All right. Hey, this was good. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us for the draft. We got one more pick now, so it makes sense. Join us for the draft, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.